The cost of telling the truth in an age of misinformation. We receive information left and right from every single thing we do. Even when we sleep, we're receiving information in the form of our dreams. So, what we're going to explore today is something about what's being told to you. In America, they tell us that Black Americans are inherently more criminal than other groups. We already know it's not the truth. We, as ourselves, know that that's not the truth. They also say that the affirmative actions that have happened in this country have only benefited undeserving Black students and families and workers in this country. And we already know that we are on the bottom level. We're number 7 on most of the benefits that we receive. This is BNN 247, the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting live from a Black perspective. We want to thank you all from TikTok, from YouTube, from Facebook, coming into us and liking us and subscribing to us and tagging us on all of those platforms. Without further ado, I want to introduce to some and to present to others my co-host and friend, Mr. Claude Hoffman.
Hello, my brother. Glad to be with you this Sunday afternoon to talk about a provocative subject. You know, we're beyond the days of just Walter Cronkite telling us the truth. You know, we got so many voices in our ear today. So it's no longer just ABC, CBS, NBC. You got CNN, you got Fox. I mean, you got a whole bevy of news sources telling you what's false, what's real, what's not, what you should be paying attention to, what you should believe. So it's a little bit more complicated world today. But thank God we got Black Talk, we got Black News,
Black Talk. Yep.
we got Urban View, we got a whole range of sources now that counterbalance that one-sided view. You know, it's kind of like publications that was published before we were allowed to get our PhDs and whatnot. Just because something's published doesn't mean it's true. Just because something's sourced to support what somebody said doesn't mean it's true. You
That's a
know,
fact. Yep.
you know, the bell curve was was an academic.
It was, I remember the bell curve, an academic
Really,
way to allow people with lower scores to match people with higher scores.
right?
So the bell curve brought them up to an equilibrium.
You know, Race, Trace, and Tendencies of the American Negro was written by somebody that was supposed to be credible.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, so it's
You have that
fascinating.
book?
Yeah, I have it.
Can we see? Can we see the cover?
Well, I got the
Okay.
a summary of it,
Okay. Okay. All right.
and it's been in the news lately because of the situation with the insurance and African Americans and their health and all this kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
this ain't 2025 ain't 1905, and so the truth may be a little bit more buried, a little bit more difficult to find, but it's out there. You
Okay.
just got to be willing to look for it.
Okay. Some of the topics that we can explore as far as the lies that we have been told. Um, well, the things that in this land of misinformation is health. You mentioned that just a second ago. That's why I wanted to come back and say health.
Right.
What are some of the lies or misinformation followings that we have received about our health? Let's go down that rabbit hole first and see if we can kind of talk about why Black people, our Black children, Black babies are dying at a 5-to-1 ratio when it comes to white babies going through that process. When babies being born, even but Black mothers are passing
Yeah,
away
yeah.
during
Infant
birth.
mortality is really high,
Hmm.
and I mean, what are some of the causes of infant mortality? Lack of health care.
And then pain, a black person tell a doctor that they can take pain. They don't want to put them under enough anesthesia. They don't want to prescribe pain pills to black people, even after surgeries or other incidents, because white doctors have a tendency to think black patients can take the pain better than white patients.
Yeah, that's why I go to a black doctor. My child was born by a black doctor. But
Mm-hmm.
those options are not available to most black folks in this country. Most,
Mm-hmm.
especially in rural areas
Right.
where you don't have the where you don't have the
The resources available.
where you don't have the black resources available.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so that's yeah. But the infant mortality is a serious issue in this
Mm-hmm.
country, especially here in Texas.
I got Jerry Terry coming on. That's all right. Thank you, Jerry Terry Allen. Appreciate you all for coming into the forum today. Talk to me if you got any concerns about our topics that we cover. We're talking about health right now. I mean, let's look at the veterans. We're both veterans, so we can talk about what it takes for a black veteran to receive his disability payments as a white veteran can receive. Most white veterans, all they got to do is submit their paperwork, and bam, they got what they're looking for. But and from the few cases that I have seen, black veterans got to prove themselves over and over and over again before they can receive basically the same principles. We can go all the way back to the Civil War. We can go all the way back to the Revolutionary War. The differences that blacks services that blacks have received based on lies,
Hmm.
especially during the what was that syphilis
The
um,
Tuskegee experiment.
Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah.
You know, you being told what I mean, you're being told that this is a cure all medication that they're giving you, and you're going to get better, and then you get injected with syphilis, and you allowed that syphilis is allowed to grow inside your body, and you're going to the doctor every week or every month to get checked and try to get cured, and they're basically just monitoring the stages of the syphilis in your body rather than trying to give you any type of cure, and you end up dying from syphilis. Most black people did, but some black people survived that ordeal. That's crazy, man. That's the kind of stuff we had to endure as allegedly being Americans here in this country. And that's just one. When World War II veterans came back from the war, they all veterans were given like this expedited loan process to buy property and buy a house.
Yeah.
But black veterans were automatically denied. I was looking at a study the other day where black veterans were denied. Um, I think it was like 20 to 1. 20 white applicants would get their home loan approved, and maybe one black. And then the black would maybe that got approved would only be eligible for 1/3 the benefits that the white one would, and he could only live within certain red zones that have been prescribed for him
Right.
as a black. He couldn't live in the suburbs. He was restricted to living in a particular area.
Yeah. That's what
These are all
redlining. Yeah.
lies. You told you fight. You get more respect from the French, from the other countries, the Germans, than you got here. Just like white Germans, you're American soldier, and you having to guard white Germans, but you black, but you don't have the right to go where this white German POW can go.
Exactly.
So that's just some of the beginning stages of lies. Healthcare benefits. Uh, we got welfare moms. Who brought that up? Was it Nixon? It was either Nixon or Reagan who
Well,
started this welfare. Huh?
it was in education as well. With integration. But you know, one of the
Hmm.
most truthful reports that was ever done, if I could just share it
Go
with
right
the
ahead.
listeners. You know, we're talking about truth, right?
Hmm. What does it say?
It's not the
It's not the
distance,
distance.
it's
It's
the
the
nigga.
nigga. What is that, man? A book?
Yeah, it's one. It
That's
was
a book called "It Is Not the Distance."
It's not the distance.
Claude must have hit the button and knocked him off right quick. He'll be coming right back in just a second. But TikTok, thank you so much for being here today. Dozy, good to see you. Clifford, I appreciate y'all. Annette, thank you so much for being here. The Reva D, thank you so much for being here. I hope I got it right. Kay, good to see you. Glenn, good to see you. These are the people that are coming into the forum wanting to talk and listen to the information we are putting out here. JG Ruby, good to see you. So I'm throwing these out there. It's all about the melanin in our skin. It's us. I mean, we've been lied to from day one. You know, I mean, look at the court system, the justice system. They needed a force to perform work as the slave once did after the Emancipation Proclamation. So what do? They create this massive, humongous prison system, and they create these massive, humongous rules to put you back in jail. Most of us call them in the beginning the black codes. We all know about the black codes. We know what they did to our people. They put many of our ancestors in jail. And every single time you put somebody in jail, Linda and Larry, what you're doing is you're halting the progress that they have made. So this is they claim that these black people are naturally the criminals of the society, so let's put them in jail anyway, which is a lie, and you know this. And so the cost of telling the truth about us in this age of misinformation would have cost them where the positions that they are in today. They didn't have to keep starting over after our people kept getting set back by them. And that's basically what happened. Welcome back, Claude.
Well, you know
Welcome
what?
back, Claude. Huh?
You know what happens when you try to tell the truth? You get knocked off the air.
The devil is a lie.
I was the NAACP Legal Defense Fund published this.
Let me let them see what that is. Hold it up. Hold it up again. I want y'all to see what he's showing me. So it's not the distance, it's the nigga. So if I hope you got a good view of that. All right, thank you, Claude. I
That
just
was
wanted
kind
to
of that.
flip that around so you all can see that
Now we're
because
talking
that's
about
something that you needed to know.
we're talking
And
about
that
the
might be a good. That's a book.
that was a report done by the NAACP Legal Defense Fund. You know, people were making excuses during integration about
Hmm.
the fact that they didn't want the children to be bused. You
Hmm.
know, remember Boston and those children that were being bused because the distance was too far. So the
Hmm.
NAACP published this book saying it's not the busing, this report, it's not the busing, it's the niggas that they didn't want to go to school with.
You
And
gotta
talking
know
about
that
truth,
that's the truth too, right?
kind of, I mean that cold hard truth. You know they calling you nigga behind your back.
Yeah,
Put
yeah.
some put some light
That
on it.
yeah, that's exactly what it was. You know, why would they want to go to school with us, and why would we want to go to school with them anyway? I mean, that whole situation was wrong. I don't care how you looked at it. I can remember being in the fifth, sixth, and seventh grade and opening because every year we walk in, you pick up your books. Where is the love? The love is right here. Ch Chantel. This is where the love is. Got something else to say? Tell me about it. We're in love with ourselves and the world. You got to love yourself first. Anybody out there. Because I was going somewhere with the schools, but I saw that and that took me out of context right there because that is a
Yeah,
serious
it took me.
question.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's ironic. I got knocked off when I was showing that.
yeah, you pull that
Somebody,
book up. The devil
somebody's
is a
watching.
lie.
Somebody's watching. Yeah.
Yeah, it was too much truth going on right when you pull that book up, and
Well,
so they knock you offline.
I don't think
Hopefully,
we
they
have.
don't knock us all offline because we do bring the truth when we talk here at BNN 247. And that's something that the world will have to get used to because, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm here, we're here.
Yeah,
Have you heard of this thing called self actualization?
I've heard of it. I've
Because
heard.
it's all about a level. It's almost like when Mr. Yakub, not Mr. Yakub, the kid that I can't even remember. It's been so long ago. Discovered this 47 problem of Euclid. He said, "Eureka." Self actualization is that eureka moment. It is that moment when I'm just tired of this as South Africa went through apartheid and last generations of apartheid. I too, Chantel, understand. Um, it's a point that you reach in life where you all the problems, all the situations that hinder you from growth are moved out of your way. It's almost like the sea is parting for you when you reach that self actualization point. And that is the beauty of life. Living on this earth is to reach that point. You may reach it at a young age, and it ain't about money. It ain't about health. It ain't about anything particular. It's about a mentality that you achieved within yourself when your pyramid is nearly complete. That's when you get to the self actualization part. Your pyramid is nearly complete.
But that sounds very academic, though. I mean, is that possible in a country where your whole self actualization is based on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Mhm.
Can you have
Yes,
that?
hmm
Can you reach that in this country?
absolutely. And you can reach it. It's almost like, let's say we're back and we're slaves. We're still slaves in somebody's eyes. You have, it's all in here. You could be get under the whip, getting beat down. You can be locked up in prison, but you're still within yourself. You're mentally free. You're mentally laying on the beach, but you're sitting in a 4x6 cell. That's what I'm saying. When you can self actualize yourself into a situation where it's the most beautiful situation you can ever achieve. And it may be that you have no money, you may be homeless, you may be carless, you may be unhealthy, anything. You may be on your dying bed, but you reach that unaliving bed. I am American is more racist than South Africa. I think you're 100% on that one, Chantel. I agree. It is so, but the difference is there are reasons here. I'm sorry to keep babbling and jumping all over the place, but Chantel brought up such a interesting point that I have to address at this moment. So I apologize. And I want to go back to can we achieve that in a little bit, Claude? But she said, I think America is more racist than South Africa. And I said, you're absolutely correct because the only reason it is different here is because the judicial system, the executive system, are and the executive system are put there to keep certain parameters within line. And the reason I say it's different is because you can a racist act can be committed in a state, right? And the person that is committed against can sue the perpetrators, the people who did it. But then they can appeal this suit all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States. And once it get to the United States will give you some BS such as the U.S. government will not stoop as low as to deal with an individual case within a state jurisdiction. In other words, the singled out issue of racism towards a single individual or a single group of people is too small for the federal government to lower themselves from their point of view to get involved in that. So they leave it to the state to deal with, but the state has already dismissed the case. That's why it made it to the Supreme Court. So what I'm saying is when you emancipate 1 million, I'm just using the number. I don't know exactly how many people were emancipated or liberated from slavery in 1863. When you move that many people from one status to another status, you don't have parameters in place to support it. Now, you put Confederate generals in charge of 11 states immediately following the Civil War. So these Confederate generals fought to maintain slavery. So you allow them to go back and be in charge of the states that they represented that wanted slavery. And what do you think they're going to do now? You think just because they took the oath of amnesty and Reconstruction that they are going to really abide them by that oath of amnesty and Reconstruction? No, they were lying. Again, here's another lie that caused America to still be divided at the Mason-Dixie line, even though they lost the Civil War. They are still divided because you put the very same people that you just defeated in charge of the place that you were trying to liberate. Now you got 1 million black souls walking around on the street with no employment, no housing, no clothing, no hospitals, no anything, and you expecting them to pull themselves up by the bootstrap. And we did. We pulled ourselves up by the bootstrap. And you still fought us every step of the way. Every single established community our people built.
So let me ask you, brother. So you think self-actualization is possible? You know, it's part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's the top one,
Mm-hmm.
self-actualization. So you think we've
Mm-hmm.
met all the other ones before that, as Black
I
Americans?
think I think it's difficult to try to meet them individually. We find if we're successful financially, we're suffering over here mentally or physically.
Right.
So there's always a ebb and flow on every level of growth it for ourselves. But if you finally come to the conclusion that this rat race is all it is, a rat race, because all you're doing is working to pay bills, because that's what we do. We work to pay bills all the time. And because we're working to pay bills, we end up in this quagmire situation that makes us repeat it day after day, week after week, month and year. So when you wake up and figure out that you're a human being and you got a life, you put 20 years in or more. And now you say, oh, I'm going to retire and go on vacation, and then you're unalive because your body can't do nothing else now. So you got to start your self actualization or self actualizing now. You can't wait until 20 years down the road or, oh, I'm going to work 5 more years, then I'm going to self actualize. It don't work like that. It's a mental thing. You could be sitting in there on a job and you have to have your mental in a certain level where you know who you are, you know where you are, and you know who you work for, and you know what your goals are. It ain't to sit there at that desk for the next 20 years. It's to love yourself enough to get out and be yourself. Be who you are. Your job is not you. You ask a person today, well, tell me about you, Claude. What's the first thing not you, but the first thing out of somebody's mouth? Well, I work for Sears, the Sears company. I'm an aircraft electrician with Sears. I'm just using some stupid stuff together.
Right.
But the bottom line is you cannot describe who you are because you are not self-actualized. If you can describe who you are self-actualized. I don't want to, your accomplishments ain't who you are.
But it's part of your esteem. It's part of your self-esteem, though.
Who you building up though with describing yourself by, oh, I got 2 million in the
Yourself.
bank.
Yeah,
Huh?
yourself. It's part of your
Are you telling me? Let's say you're telling a stranger, you're telling a group of homeless people who you are. What you gonna say? You got 2 million in the bank?
No, I'm the mayor, or
You,
I'm chief of so and so. You know, whatever. I mean,
but your
that's part of
job
your.
ain't you.
No, but it's part of your self-esteem. Is part of you.
Yeah, self-esteem is, but your job ain't.
Well,
So why is it that most people leave with what they do? I didn't say, well, what do you do? I said, who are you?
well, that's.
I tell you who I am.
Go ahead, say it.
I
I'm ready
am
to.
a descendant of the Moabites. I am a Northwest African. I am a citizen of the USA and a citizen of Morocco. And I believe that I am whole right now, free. So I didn't tell you I was black American or white American or more. I told you what I'm a descendant of, where I came from. I know my history, and I think history is what people have forgotten about themselves. That you got a history and an ancestry, and that you came from somewhere, and that just because you went through a period of slavery here in America, that did not stop where you came from. That didn't change who you were associated with. And most people don't know Liberia and Sierra Leone are both American communities of people who had been taken from Africa and brought here and along the whole coastline
Right.
that went back to Africa, and the British helped to establish them in Sierra Leone. The Americans helped to establish them in Liberia. So who are you don't mean where you work. I don't give a damn about where you work. I don't mean that for saying the
Right.
use of matter. But I want to know who are you? You know, are you of Irish descent? Are you from Nova Scotia? Where are you from? What is your lineage? Do you belong to a culture? What are you? I'm talking to you, Bill. What are you? Xavier, what are you? User 4273. Still got users out there. Woodrow, what are you? I'm asking these people
Well,
that are coming onto the forum for
is it who are you or what are you?
TikTok. What are you? And it's both. To me, it's both because it's all about the mental state of mind, not the physical state of mind. The physical state of mind will be the job you do, but the mental state of mind is the the aura and the gene that you carry, and the mentality that you have when confronted with racism, or when you're in front of people
I,
that don't look like you?
a good
How do
example.
you behave in that situation?
So Kunta Kinte, when you say my name is Kunta Kinte, he knew
Mhm.
who he was.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what, and they took that from him
they took it.
purposefully.
Yes, yes. I want to jump up and shout now, run around the room. Yeah, exactly. They took it from him. They took more than just his name.
Right.
They took
His
everything that went
identity.
with it.
They
Huh?
took they took every stage of his self actualization of who he was as a person.
Bam. Thank you, Claude,
That's the only
man.
way you can be a slave.
Thank you. That is the only way you could have been a slave is they took everything from you and made you start. They did it to the whole the concept been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Every soldier, everyone in the army. I don't know about the Air Force. I'm just saying, yeah, the Air Force may not do that.
What's that?
Everyone that went through the army had to relinquish who they were, and they browbeat you down, and they pull you through this boot camp to dislocate you from who you are, so they can put into you who they wanted you to be.
Well, you know, one of the unique features of the Air Force was they didn't separate you so much from society. See, like for you guys,
Gee,
you couldn't even call a cafeteria anymore. It was the mess hall.
the mess hall.
We still call it the cafeteria. So there were
We
certain
couldn't call it the bathroom. We had to call it a latrine.
yeah we called it the bath. In the Air Force, they call it the bathroom.
Oh man,
Yeah,
we call it the latrine. So,
but
huh?
getting back to Kuta Kente, I mean, I think that illustrates to our listeners exactly what you're talking about
Okay.
and what they did to him and
Hmm.
what they took mind, body, soul. They took his personhood. They took and they recreated something else
Hmm.
in the
What
image
they
that
wanted.
what they
Hmm.
wanted. And
Hmm.
as African Americans, how often does that happen to us?
It seems as though it's almost not them anymore. It's us doing it to ourselves, creating ourselves in the image that they want us to present. In other words, if we want to get a job, we got to dress up a certain way, we got to talk a certain way, and we have to perform a certain way. And each of those ways is not our way, so, per se. It's the way we perceive that they want us to be. I want what's that? The new mayor of New York, Zori Mandami.
Hmm.
He said he's unapologetically Muslim. He said it, and people, white people that are reporting the news on him, they act like the whole world is about to go down the toilet. They are talking the look on their faces when they say what he just said, that he's unapologetically Muslim. Why would he not be unapologetically Muslim? You know, he's
Because
showing,
he's an
huh?
American. He's an American. That's what they would say.
Yeah, people are trying to paint him and now as a terrorist and everything except they're trying to take that statement and make it into something that it's not. You know, he's just telling you his heritage, who he is. He's not telling you he's the mayor of New York or the incumbent mayor of New York. He's telling you, I am Muslim and I got no problem with that. And I don't care if you do. But white people that report the news now are looking at that as, oh, here we got a terrorist as the chief person in New York, the mayor of New York. That's what they're saying. That's what they're portraying. Only because this young brother made a statement of who he is. And they can't handle that. And that's where we run into trouble, Eric. When we say who we are, Mom, that's where we run into trouble. Thomas, stop. They don't want you to say who you are. You can't stand up and say, I'm black and I'm proud. That was the problem when it came out back in the 50s and 60s, in the 60s. When you said you were black and you were proud, let's see, Dirty White said, I knew it was a matter of time before you pulled a race card.
Who said that, Dirty White?
Dirty White said he knew it was a matter of time before we pulled the race card. I apologize. Yeah, I don't mean no disrespect, Dirty White. I didn't pull a race card, but the race is what it is, man. I can't help it. You know it, and I know it. If you're going on an interview, you're gonna have to say who. You're gonna have to say that if you're black, you're going on an interview. You're gonna have to code switch, my brother. It's the bottom line. If you want a job, you got to code switch. Now, show me a black executive that did not code switch. He must own the company. That's the only way. You cannot get in there without code switching. You got to speak your black man got to speak your language. He got to tighten his butt cheeks and walk like you and act like you. He ain't going there with that little swagger like Obama. You know, he got to be. Oh, I can't be bipping and dabbing and dobbing and doing all that stuff we do. You know, even though you can do it, you Dirty White, you can walk around and do that kind of stuff, and nobody will say anything. But when we do it, part of our culture and who we are, there's a problem with that.
So Elon Musk can show up at the White House in a trench coat and
Pair of jeans,
pair of jeans.
the richest man in the world.
A black man could never do that. Would
No,
never do that.
no. And look at the president of Ukraine.
That's not the race card. You're just telling them that's just reality.
No, they won't pull up the race card on Elon Musk. But
No.
if he was black, guess what?
Oh, how dare he come to the White House dressed like that,
Look
looking
how
like
they
that?
dove in on Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
You know, they the worst first lady they ever seen.
Well,
You
look how they
know,
dove in on Obama when he wore a beige suit.
but they ain't said nothing about these undressed photos floating around the world right now.
Mm-mm. So
All
that's not
right,
the
in
race.
some, huh?
That's not the
Let's
race
see.
card caller. We. No, I
Wait
just
a minute.
push
Dirty
back
White
on.
said. Dirty White said you only see it from your perspective. Not true, Dirty White. I've been in the highest level executive positions you can imagine. So I see it from the top and I see it from the bottom. I've been on all spectrum, my brother, and I have no problem whatsoever seeing it from a different perspective. But you, my friend, raise a problem. Obama, here we go from Chantel. Obama has the swag, but didn't do anything. He is a traitor to the blacks. Woo, that's heavy.
Who
See,
said
that's
that?
where
Who
that
said
lie,
that?
telling the truth.
Who said that? Dirty White said that.
No, no, Chantel said that. This is where it comes to telling the truth in a land of misinformation. Why are you trying to tell the truth about Obama, Chantel? You know you're wrong for that. He's out there campaigning for Democrats all over the country right now, even though he didn't do anything. I
Well,
know that, you know
all,
that, and all of us know it, but most of us won't even tell the truth about it.
well, everybody won that he campaigned for.
You hear that? Everybody, Claude just said everybody won. That everybody that Obama campaigned for won
Well,
the race. So that's a good observation, Dirty White. Um, I don't want to see it from one perspective. I want to see it from both perspectives because I feel like I do. I have that ability to see it from both perspectives. Most people don't have the same opportunities I've had. Many do, but most don't. Chantel said, I'm Nelson Mandela. I'm in the Nelson Mandela area, and Nelson Mandela didn't do anything for his people. Now we got a problem here. I don't agree with that. I mean, Winnie Mandela may not have done anything, but I don't know what Nelson Mandela did. He bought solidarity too when he got rid of What's the man with the thing in his head? I don't remember.
The clerk.
De Klerk. Yeah, he got rid of De Klerk. That was a significant accomplishment for South Africa, or if that's where he was. But I don't know all the details, but I do think he changed the flow of the way South Africa rolled, and he made some differences there, and that's what makes the difference overall. Just let me give you some local news here. Uh, let's see, 14,000 or 1,400 flights canceled a day. We're going to talk about airlines for a second. 1,400 flights canceled a day now, but over 13,000 flights delayed per day. That's because of the TSA and the air traffic controllers. That is a big issue. And if we don't start to do something about what's happening here, if our government don't change that, I fear we're going to start getting fatigued air traffic controllers running those sections, those airplanes, thousands of airplanes a day, and it's going to cause problems. It's been problems already, but the problems are going to magnify. And that's kind of my concern right now because that's what it looked like we're headed for. So we've already had a UPS airplane to go down. Um, when did it go down? A few days ago, and from my understanding, 13 people perished from that airplane, with one that may have perished today. Katie said the Republicans worked against President Barack Obama. You're absolutely right. I'd
Yeah,
be
Katie's
scared
right.
too if I were you, Chantel. They, we already know, but nobody wants to tell the truth about it. Nobody's going to say that the Republicans worked against Barack Obama while he was in the White House, but that is the truth. I agree with you 100%. And being scared is all right, but you just know that being scared it can create another issue. I mean, it can turn you into a hermit or an introvert or a person that really focuses too much on what might happen instead of what's actually happening. Don't change your life, Chantel, because of being scared. Still confront your fears. Get out there and do it. Because I'm one, I don't like going to Walmart or the store or anywhere else because I don't want to confront people. I left the house today and I got a little upset with three people in the first 15 minutes before I got where I was going. I was just going to Lowe's, and before I got there, I encountered three issues that I didn't like with people. And I said, "Oh man, I need to get back home." And this was one of them days I just didn't think I was right by being out there.
Right.
You are awesome, and I'm so happy to connect. Thank you so much, Chantel. And don't forget, this is Claude. It goes for you too, Claude. She says she's happy to connect with us, and
We're
I
happy to
appreciate
connect
that.
with Chantel. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right. All right. So that's just some of the news. But the worst news today that I can bring to you is the condition of the school system in the District of Columbia, DC. 80% of eighth graders have failed to reach the eighth grade mark. And the teachers, and say, may God bless you. You matter. Thank you so much, You Matter Ministry. The teachers um, are passing people that are failing. And the superintendent of the DC school system says that the ramifications of not advancing the students is worse than it would be advancing the students, whether they passed or not. So basically, he's saying it doesn't matter what they do, they're still going to pass on to the next grade. Um, they don't hold students back for incompetence or not being able to do their work. So and then some parents in the DC area are taking their kids out of state to private schools and in state to private schools because they are not comfortable with the public school system in DC. And no matter how much money they put in that system, it said it's still not working.
Well, I just looked it up for our listeners. You know how much DC spends per student?
More than anybody in the country.
25,000 per student.
Damn. And how and can you find the lowest, the one of the lowest systems per
Probably
student?
probably somewhere in the South. I think
Probably
Texas.
12, 15 thousand dollars a student.
Oh no, it's nowhere near that in Texas. Let me see.
We're looking
It's
at how
somewhere.
much does the school system, the public school system, spend on on an individual student per year, per school year. And that money that's being spent don't seem to be gaining a significant result from that child being in school. So the school system is pretty bad right now. Now, for those of you who intend to fly during this holiday season, Thanksgiving's coming up.
Okay, okay,
There's two. Let me give you two things. Then I'll come to you, Claude.
okay.
Two things that you can do if you intend to fly this coming Thanksgiving season. One is you put on your phone the app that airline you're flying on use. That way you can get automatic updates and keep informed about your flight. And the second thing you can do, you want to be on the first flight moving. Get the very first flight of the day, because any other flights that you wait on, you're going to be delayed, delayed, delayed. You might even be spending some overnights in between flights. So that goes together. I ought to be a rapper here. Overnight between flights. I like. Anyway, go ahead, Claude. I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted Texas. Per student cost is $6,215. But if you add total operating expenditures, and they get funding from the federal government and a whole variety of sources, it
Mm.
comes to $16,792 per student.
I was almost all right. I said
You was
six.
almost, yeah, you
So
was almost
16,000 in Texas and 20 some thousand in how much?
in DC,
25,000,
26
26,000.
in DC.
That's a big difference, and that's either the highest or the second highest in the country. I think there may be one other state that spends that much money. I got some really good news for you, but you're gonna have to move to get this good news, to do this good news, to
What's that?
benefit from this good news. The state of New Mexico now offers free child care across the board. If you are a resident of that state, you have free child care no matter what child care facility you take.
Would they be offering free child care if any black folks lived in New Mexico?
And you know they got at least 20, 30,
I've been
35,
in
maybe
New Mexico
40.
was what New Mexico was one of the states I was responsible for. Ain't that many blacks in New Mexico?
It's got to be at least 1,000. You know, they get free child care. I mean, black people ought to move there now since they're getting free child care. The state's offering it. The
But
state's paying it. Hmm?
would it still be free
Would it still be free?
if, if blacks moved there? A
I'm
lot of
sure the
blacks
few
moved there.
blacks that are there gonna get it, but like you say though, when we move in, all the benefits move out.
Yep.
See, that's what's happening in most of the places here in America. What is it about black people that they don't like? I don't know why people don't like black people. I don't understand that. Do you know, Dirty White? Can you come back in here and tell me why white people don't like black people? Because what they say is things that are definitely not true. They said the racial wealth gap is due to a lack of effort or poor choices by Black America. Let me say
That
that again.
that's
Huh?
that lift yourself up by your bootstrap bullshit.
Uh,
That's a lie.
that's right. It says this narrative ignores the historical and ongoing effort of discriminatory policies, such as redlining, unequal education, and employment discrimination. Employment discrimination is my next topic, too, by the way,
Right.
um, which have systematically limited Black Americans' ability to build wealth. Now, if you
Right.
want to compare, why is it that we're behind? Let's see. Why is it that we're behind economically? 25 to 1, that is. Every $25 they make, we make $1. If you really want to know why we're behind, look in the mirror, Mr. White Man. I see Dirty White coming back up in here.
That's
I see a
exactly
new
right.
message. If you we could be just left alone, man. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the high job market rate. What the layoffs, the layoffs. Now over 300,000 women, majority of them black, have been laid off from the federal government. Now,
Well,
if you
I do think that Trump, well, it just shows you that who was benefiting from a lot of the programs, black women,
mhm,
because they're the ones with the most college degrees, and
mhm,
Trump has an all-out attack on
on
black
black,
women.
I agree with you, and he doesn't have to spell it out for me or
He don't have
you,
to.
and
No,
I hope none of our
no,
listeners
he
that
don't have to. He
why.
don't have to say it. They don't need to. They're not gonna come out and say that.
No, I don't think so either. It's a sad thing that black three over 300,000 black women have suffered the fate of this president because he don't like black women. Just that simple. Why would you lay off that many black women? You because of their educational accomplishments. You know, them being as educated as they are, having that many degrees. You're not happy about that because somebody don't have a degree that's sitting in the White House. Ain't that something? 153,000 jobs were cut during the month of October.
Wow.
That is the highest since 2004. I
But
think it was, huh?
why you think he lost Virginia? I mean, the Republicans lost Virginia. Look at all those federal jobs there in Virginia. Look at all the black folks in Virginia.
That's a whole lot of black folks
A
that are
whole
not
lot in
working.
Virginia.
And most of them are there because of government jobs.
Right.
There's a lot of people losing their jobs. Most and right now the focus is on white. I mean black. Black folks are losing their jobs, and unfortunately, it is what it is. This administration go out of their way to ensure that we still suffer for what we want, and we haven't been able to get further than that. That's pretty sad, but it's damn true. You know, where are these $2 gas prices that's been promised? You know, where is that 1,500% reduction in food prices? I mean, if it was down 1,500%, um, we they'd be paying us to buy prescriptions. If prescriptions had went down 1,500%, they would be paying us to get a prescription. You know what I mean? You
Right.
know,
Right.
he just makes statements that are not true, and it really reflects on the administration and what America looks like in the world's eye. Because other than more than us see what we see, other countries do. Black voters commit widespread voter fraud. We don't own anything. How do we commit voter fraud when we don't own the machines? So you can say these kind of things, make these kind of untruths, and people can believe these untruths so they can go against us again. You know, if you want to talk about untruths, how many black men been accused of raping a white woman and it never happened? Or whistling at a white woman? How many lost their lives behind something like
Whistling.
that? Huh?
Whistling. Yeah.
Behind a whistle, behind a smirk, or behind a smile? How many black men have suffered behind that and ended up in the museum in Montgomery, Alabama, in a jar full of dirt? I don't know if you've been to that museum, but
How many black folks got the electric chair innocent?
over Clinton. Look at what is it, the Green Mile? Did
Well,
you
another
see
thing,
the movie The Green Mile?
do you know how many people in Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia and Louisiana have sent to death that were innocent?
It's a lot. The that rate is. I watched this movie the other day. Um, I don't know what the name of it was, but it had something to do with this man was on death. Jamie Foxx was on death row.
Yeah, Brian Stevenson, the 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 the
Hmm.
the,
Was
the,
that what
the
was the name of
lawyer.
that?
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it, but it
But
was
it ended up he was innocent. You know, the
yeah.
man was coming home from work and got picked up and put on death row before he even went to trial.
Yep.
So you know, they wanted to just chop him up anyway because he dated he had slept with a white woman a week, beforehand,
Yeah, he
and they
cheated
wanted
on
to
his
get him.
wife with a white woman. Yeah.
And the white woman confessed that it was not rape; it was consensual. Discussed that's something. I'm looking for that one new message. I don't see it, so I'll keep it moving. So 153,000 jobs cut, $2 gas prices. What else? Uh, food prices going down, utility prices going down. Uh, uh, all this stuff is going down, but in actuality, ain't nothing going down. Everything's going up. Mortgage payments, insurance, food. What are the people doing without SNAP benefits? Now, most people say, "What is the hell is SNAP?" SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the SNAP benefits. SNAP benefits may be $60, maybe $350. Whatever it is, it had a lot of people quiet. But the bottom line is, I don't disagree with SNAP benefits. I do disagree with you just arbitrarily not paying people and screwing up the systems in every state so they can't pay people either. So, what is the real benefit of the SNAP program? I mean, why? I mean, we need it. People need that supplement, but the overall truth is, black people are not the ones who are really suffering from SNAP benefits. We know how to put two shoes together and make a meal. So we're not the ones really suffering from the loss of SNAP benefits. But there are some black people suffering from it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not. I'm looking at percentages here.
Yeah, but the
Some
majority of people on SNAP are white.
are white people. So you're not you cutting off your nose. What do they call it? To as a I hear so many sayings. I forget them all.
There's a
You
lot.
you 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 cutting off your nose to spite your face or something like that. You really are hurting your own people, thinking you're hurting us because it's all directed toward blacks. All of it. Even the shutdown in Washington is to remove black people from systems in America and disappear us from the American roll book. See, nobody's talking about the citizenship. Nobody's worried about being a citizen. But as soon as they rescind that 14th Amendment, I'm going to see what you want to do then. Even though we don't have no slaves, you know, slavery, 13th Amendment, when slavery was abolished, who determined what is a slave? If I use the term slave, is your first thought, oh, that's black American? Are they talking about Negroes? Who are the black American? Who are the slaves? What is the slave word in the Constitution point towards? Who is it? Who are they pointing towards? Who are they talking about when they say slave? Can
They
you help
don't
me?
say they don't say slave in the Constitution.
What does it say?
It doesn't reference slavery at all. The
Well,
only the only
I
the
beg
only
to differ.
it doesn't reference slavery in the Constitution.
The
It on,
the
it
13th
only
Amendment says slavery, brother.
oh well yeah, that's to free the slave. You said the Constitution.
That is in the
Well, I
Constitution.
mean, but the
Huh?
amendment, yeah, it's an amendment to the Constitution. But the
Yeah,
original Constitution, there's no mention of slavery.
No, but if it's an amendment, that makes it part of it, right?
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, technically.
So the 13th Amendment does say something about slavery. And I'm trying to pull it up because I really want to be able
No, I get it.
to talk about it.
No, I hear what you're saying. But my point was that there was no, in the original founding documents, there was no mention of slavery,
Okay,
even though
so
slaves existed.
even though there was slaves, okay, here it goes. The 13th Amendment has two sections.
Hmm.
The 13th Amendment says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime. So when they say neither slavery,
But they were slavery doesn't necessarily have to refer to black people.
who's it referring to?
Slavery doesn't necessarily have to refer to black people.
You and I both, we know this, Claude, but who is it talking about? Why do we look at this says we can't, you can't keep us as slaves no more? Who it does? But when they put it in here saying slavery, are they specifically? They got to be talking about black people because at the time they did this, we were the only slaves that was recognized as slaves in America.
Now I hear what you're saying. Yeah. No,
So, huh?
no, I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying that I was speaking of the original founding documents. There was no mention of slavery in the original. I wasn't talking about the amendments to the Constitution. I was
Okay.
talking about the original Constitution, the unamended, the non-amended Constitution. That was
Okay. But all
but
right.
because like I said, the 14th Amendment did not specifically mention slavery.
You said a 14th.
Yeah, the 14th.
Let's look at the 14th. You're right though. I don't recall seeing it in the 14th either.
Because the the politicians of that period, just like the politicians of today,
Hmm.
dare not do anything specifically for black people
Hmm.
because it would be political suicide.
Yeah. Okay. So the 14th Amendment. Dang. 14th Amendment got five sections. So I think section four. All right. Section four. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debt incurred from payment of pension and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in the aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States or any claim for the loss of emancipated or emancipation of any slave, but all such debt. So there it is, emancipation of any slave in the 14th Amendment. So by it being in the 14th Amendment, the emancipation of any slave,
Okay,
it,
where were you reading? Section what?
section 4, but all such debt, obligation, and claim shall be held illegal and void. So if you were a slave owner and you claim the slave, here it is. Michael says, I'm helping first five people in need, paying for their bills, debts, and mortgages. Inbox me help. All right, that's Michael Donald. Thank you so much, Michael, for coming on the platform. I'm going to read this again. This is Michael Donald saying to all of the people in BNN 247, he's saying that I'm helping the first five people in need, paying
All
off
right.
their bills, debts, and mortgages. Inbox him with the word help. This is Michael Donald. Thank you, Michael, for coming on the forum with that.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Michael.
That
Yeah,
comes from
definitely.
Claude too. He says thank you. So man, that is such a beautiful thing. This is what we have to do in America. Help, help each other if we can. It's beautiful. Beautiful, man. That makes me feel good. I'm sure it's making a lot of other people feel good. You got to inbox Michael Donald. He says he's helping the first five people pay off everything. Help him. Go to him and say go to his page in TikTok. Michael Donald. Michael. I thought Michael was Michael, but he says EAL.
Yeah, some people spell it that way. Maybe that's
Okay,
what that is.
Micheald. Donald. The E before the A in Michael.
All right. Way to go,
Thank you.
Michael. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. So here it is in the 13th Amendment, we see the word slave. In the 14th Amendment, we see the word slave.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just go again. Section 4 of the 14th Amendment, or any claim for the loss or
I see it.
emancipation, huh,
I see it.
of any slave. So where are we? What are we talking about anyway about slaves? I don't even get it. I forgot where we were going with this, but we went somewhere. We showed that the word slave is in both amendments, but we don't show anything in the Constitution about
As in the Constitution originally drafted. Right.
nothing about Negroes.
We were other persons.
We were what?
Other persons.
Man, I laugh a lot. So it's all about joy, enjoying yourself, and enjoying who you are.
It's other
Uh,
persons. We were other
self with
persons.
a self actualization.
At least the Constitution acknowledged that we were people, that we were a person.
No, they just said slave.
No, I mean the unamended Constitution referred to
Mm.
us as other persons being designated as three fifths,
Oh yes, okay.
the three fifths clause.
And you know what though? That's a good point, Claude. Here, when they say slave, they're talking about a person. They
Right.
didn't say slavery. So in the 13 it says slavery, and the 14 it says slave,
Slave.
and they were specifically talking about black people.
But they didn't say that though.
But
So they
that's the objective, not
so
to
no
say what they're saying. The lie that's
right,
being
exactly.
told in plain sight.
Right.
That's the objective. To not say what you're really saying.
Right.
So if you're saying claim for the loss or emancipation of a slave, the loss or emancipation.
Do you think they should have said black slave?
They should have been more specific, but because they didn't be specific, there's no other doubt in my mind that they're talking about the black slave. And when they say slave in the 14th Amendment, who else could they be talking about?
Well, they could be.
Nobody. There was nobody else on slavery at a magnitude of black people
Right.
than us,
So they
our
weren't
people.
talking. They wasn't talking about the indentured servants that
No,
just were
they talking
indentured.
about slaves.
They talking about black people.
Hmm. So 13th and 14th Amendment, guess you see it. It's in there. 13th Amendment. I learned something today too. Thank you, Claude, for that. The 13th Amendment talk about slavery, and the 14th Amendment specifically mentions slave. So another name added to our plethora of names: slave, Negro, colored, black, black American, African American, Negro, uh, nigger. Oh, there's some more. There's probably some more that I ain't heard them say yet.
Colored,
They always got a name for us.
colored.
Colored, yep, colored. So that's just something. Um, Utilities are going up right now. When he said drill, baby, drill, They're drilling more now, but even though they're bringing in more oil, they're bringing in more profit. And because they're bringing in more oil and bringing in more profit, seems like oil prices should go down. But it's not. The utility companies are charging more for our monthly bills. You
Yeah,
see
now yeah,
surcharges. Even if you go to a restaurant now, they're paying more for the chicken, they're paying more for the steak, they're paying more for the pork. So your prices may have little stuff on it like a 3 to 7% surcharge, service charge for added to your bill without you even paying attention to it unless you're looking at your bill.
yeah. When a chicken wing costs more than what a chicken used to cost.
Yeah,
You paying
pack
that
of
much
chicken
for a
wings is
chicken?
$10. Six
Uh,
chicken wings, 8
yeah,
chicken wings, $10.
cost for a
$12.
chicken. Yeah, you used to
You
be
get
able to
the
get a
whole
whole chicken.
chicken for $6.
Yep.
That's still high. A dozen eggs, high.
Or
I mean,
yeah,
you go in there, you talk about you spend, oh, I spent $300 at the grocery store, and you walk in the house with 4 bags of groceries.
yep.
$300 is enough to fill the trunk at one day in time. Nowadays, you can hardly fill a basket with $300 of groceries. Most people don't fill their baskets anymore. You remember the time when you go to the grocery store, everybody basket running over. You got so much stuff up in there. But now you don't see that anymore. You can see the rim of the basket, and you can some places you can see the bottom because people ain't buying that much. But the store prices, no matter what you buy, are higher. You go in there talking about, oh, I love me some oxtails.
I
You're
know
gonna
one
pay,
thing.
huh?
Going to Walmart, they got more security and checkpoints and shit than trying to get into Fort Knox or get on any military installation.
People stealing these days, huh?
Still,
They getting their groceries.
I mean,
All right.
you at the self checkout, you got somebody standing right over you, looking over your shoulder.
You got the cameras on you. You
People
got a
on,
lot of things going on at these stores.
yeah,
So people, there are ways to get your food, ways to get the your utilities paid. So before you do something that could cause you your freedom, look into different avenues of support and people that may be able to help you. We're on day 40. This is day 40 of the
wow,
government shutdown. The government has been shut down longer than at any time in 250 years. It ain't never been shut down that long. 40 days. It's only been shut down 2 times in the last decade, and that's been by the current administration, under the current administration. Obamacare is what's holding up the Democrats.
yep.
I'm calling it Obamacare, but it's something else. It's an
The
act,
Affordable Care Act.
huh?
Affordable Care Act.
The Affordable Care Act is what it really is. That's the official name. But I
Yeah,
want to
and the
call it,
Republicans call it Obamacare.
yeah, I want to call it the Obamacare because that what makes the hair on most people's neck stand up.
Especially
People get
especially those
mad,
upper
man, when you
eyes.
start talking that kind of stuff. Um, the 13th and 14th Amendment was a good debate, and I enjoyed that conversation. But Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, is something that we'll have to deal with. If the Affordable Care, if they don't extend that Affordable Care Act for another year, people will no longer be able to get the minimum health care that they're getting right now. You won't be able to get that.
Right, because under Obamacare, it's mandatory.
All right, so Chantel says she doesn't understand the Affordable Act. So you want to go ahead and explain if the best you can, Claude?
Well, I mean, you people have to sign up for health care through the exchange uh, because everybody's required to have health care.
So, and she also asked, is it tax funded?
Well, I think you do get a tax credit or a tax rebate. I think it's a tax credit, but everybody's required. Everybody's required to have insurance in this country. There was a segment of the population that couldn't afford insurance. So you go to the exchange, you and you purchase insurance, and I think you get a tax credit, uh, and that's what the argument and that's what the debate is all about. They want to do away with mandatory health care. And then we're back to only the people that can afford it, that got good jobs, that got business through their business or through their employer health care. But the people at the bottom of the well will be back at the bottom with no health care.
So they would only be able to use the emergency room.
Right, yeah, illegal, yeah, just like now.
Even if you go in the emergency room, the question is if you don't have insurance, it's almost like you still don't get the quality service that you could get with insurance.
Well, they have to stop you from dying or whatever it is of spreading contagious diseases and stuff. But I think it's limited.
She says, and the poor will die. You're absolutely right, Chantel. The
She's right.
poor people without this Affordable Care Act being extended, in reality, poor people will die because they will not have their access to health insurance. You have to go. What's the name of this website, Claude? What's the name of this website you go to?
Oh, she can just type in go to Google, just type in affordable health care, and it'll give her all the details.
Okay, so just type in affordable health care. I'm really hoping that the
Type in
Democrats stand
Obamacare.
fast. I mean, I don't want to see the government shut down, and nor does anybody else. But I also don't want to see American people without health care. And again, we're the reason everything is we're like a small percentage of all the problems that they're creating to get rid of us. This same situation, only we're 46 million people, black Americans in this country. But there's what 125 million white people, so-called white people.
Well, no, there's 300 and something million Americans. 300 and what, 60 something million? We're 20
360 million, let's say 360 some million of
thousand
Americans, period.
America, period.
And we're only 46 million
Yeah.
people.
So in 1960, we were 22 million people in this country. Black folks
Wow.
were,
We
and today
double.
we've
Ch-
doubled.
Chantel says, I was an African Republican
Wow.
with health insurance until health insurance changed my mind. I feel you, sister.
But before we get off the air today, I just wanted to kind of acknowledge your home state of Mississippi for those three black folks winning that Senate race this
Yes, they
past
did.
election cycle, taking some of the power away from them white folks in the state of Mississippi. That super majority.
Yeah, they
That's
had a super
that's
majority.
that's significant.
Yeah.
That that goes back to my whole support of a black state. That's what can be done,
Hmm.
and I think Mississippi would be perfect for that experiment in democracy.
If we all go back, well, a lot of people are now moving back to the South. That's
Yeah.
what
Well, look
I've
at Georgia. Look at even in Alabama. I mean, look at
I,
people.
and I
That's where the land is.
yeah, I'm reading that Georgia is the best place for a veteran.
Georgia got more black millionaires. Atlanta got more black millionaires than any city in the country.
Even the ones that you'd never think they'd be a millionaire, they're millionaires because of the place they are located and what they do. That is something. I congratulate those three people as well
Was it
for
three or four? I think
those three.
it was three. Two
Yeah,
guys.
I read the story, but I forgot the names.
Yeah.
But they did turn it take away that super majority
Now they,
in
and they
Mississippi.
wasn't they wasn't in no majority black districts either.
No, I didn't do that much of it.
Yeah.
All right, so
They were Democrats, and they took down those
They took them
White
down.
Republicans. Yeah, and they wasn't the majority. But
But see,
what's
now,
scared?
every time that happens, Mississippi starts to change the rules because they don't want black people in power, and they do everything they possibly can to keep black people out of power.
But what
So,
scares me about that ruling, though, about that win, is the
mm,
Supreme Court may look at that and say we don't need the Voting Rights Act anymore
because they
because
win it anyway.
they winning.
Well, if he keeps doing what he's doing, we'll keep winning. You
Yeah, that's
know.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
So we got a great president doing what he's doing. So we keep winning.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do it again come midterm.
No, yeah, let the president keep doing what he's doing, and we'll keep winning at the polls.
And I got two more comments from Chantel. It's sad when we work till death for health insurance, and I can never be a Republican again. All right, I understand, sister.
Oh, she was a Republican.
Yeah,
Michelle was
yeah.
a
She said
Republican.
she was an African who was a Republican until it came to health insurance. Let me
Okay.
just restate a few more black myths, untruths in this world of misinformation. And here's some more misinformation that's being spreaded about our people. Black Americans have equal access to quality education and housing. It makes me laugh for people to even think of that. Narratives suggest that disparities in education and housing are exaggerated or self inflicted, ignore the documented effects of discriminatory laws. That's pretty sad. Black immigrants, Haitians, Jamaicans, are mostly undocumented or criminals. Bullcrap. Recent misinformation, here we go, that misinformation again. Campaigns have targeted black immigrants, black immigrant communities, falsely claiming that the large number are unlawful and present or pose a threat. Diversity, equity, and inclusion programs create divisions and are unnecessary.
Mm.
Recent attacks on DEI initiatives falsely claim that these programs are divisive or discriminatory. In fact, DEI efforts aim to address historical inequalities and foster more inclusive environmental environments in workplaces and schools.
Mm.
So there's no systematic racism in America. Despite repeated claims that racism is a thing of the past, data on disparities in education, in housing, and in healthcare, criminal justice, and employment demonstrates that systematic racism persists. So it's still there. Even though we're in 2025, it's still a racist society, and there's still misinformation being floated out there. So it's going to be imperative that we do something different. So, Clark, give me your finals.
Well, it's it's been an interesting show. Uh, talking about we've kind of covered the gamut from self-actualization, and it's kind of ironic that we end on racism is still there. It's kind of hard to be self-actualized when there's systemic racism that still exists in this country. Uh, but I think we've left the listeners with a lot to think about, and I appreciate all the input from our callers, and look forward to next week's show.
All right, there you have it, brothers and sisters. That is Mr. Clark Foster. We want to thank him for his participation with BNN 247. Brothers, sisters, self actualization is something that we have to do for ourselves. And the way you do it is to focus inward on who you are, what you are, when you want to be in a certain mind frame, how you're going to get there. And it's all about not worrying about the dollar you may owe. We're going to always owe money to somebody in our condition. in America. Not everybody, but the majority of us will always owe somebody something. Even if you're living in a house that's paid off, you will still owe utilities. You will still owe water bill. You will still owe something, taxes. So don't allow what you owe to overcome who you are in here. If you don't have the money to pay your bill, that's no reason for you not to sleep, because the only thing you're going to do is compound the issue of not having what you need to move to the next level. If you are behind on your car note, you already know they're going to come get it. So just start thinking outside the box and say, well, I'm going to drive it till the wheels fall off or till they come get it. You do that. But don't allow that to dictate how your life is going to move. The only thing that's going to do is take out the transportation part, but you're going to find a way. You will find a way to continue. You will find a way to continue. Think about all the obstacles that's been in your way to this point. You have found a way to continue, no matter how many misinformations are put out there. You will find a way. Thank you for your participation too, Chantel. What a great live session. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you, Chantel, and thank you for your participation. Thank you, same sister. This is somewhere you're going to have to get. My whole presence today is to tell you that you are somebody, that your person matters, that your vote matters, that your existence matters to somebody, and that your sanity matters to somebody. Your words matter to somebody. What you say and what you don't say matter to somebody. So stop. Get out of your feelings and get down to business so you can get where you're trying to go. You can't get there moping and joking in your side yourself about what's actually happening. You got to look beyond that. It's only a minor setback for a major comeback. That's all it is. Get your mind in the right place, because you can do that. You can do it, and you should do it. Thank you so much for listening to BNN. Remember, there is no longer a systematic racial system in America. And if you believe that, I got some swamp land in the Nevada desert waiting for you. This is the Black News Network, the real voice of Black USA, broadcasting live from a Black perspective. We don't own the rights to the music, but we do own the rights to what we say. Please don't forget, if you have not done it yet, you need to subscribe to BNN 247 YouTube. You need to like us on Facebook, BNN 247, and you need to do whatever they're supposed to do on Instagram. BNN 247 is here for you. Have a great day today and a better day tomorrow.